All right, hey everybody, my name is Blaze, or moonblazewolf, and we are going to be doing Fire Emblem Three Houses today. This is going to be the Blue Lions run. I am joined today by Sunny Muffin, who is a fellow runner of this game, and Zoe Vermillion, who is a Fire Emblem fan, and I know wants to or has looked into running this game, but they are going to be helping me out quite a bit as we go through the run today, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who donated for the donation incentives as well, because we're gonna have a fun run today. All right, are we ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay, well, if we're just waiting on me, then I'm ready to go. So we're gonna play on normal classic today, and this is the way we do all of the new game speedruns currently. It's just faster, and reasons that I'll talk about or we'll talk about as things get going. So time is gonna start when I get past this menu. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Little cutscene heavy here at the beginning, but I need my gender and name for Byleth. Actually, sorry for the sudden prompting.
Oh, I already have those for you. Your gender will be female, and the name will be Leggy.
Leggy. Okay, Professor Leggy, I see.
Dr. Leggy Starscream.
Dr. Leggy. Thank you again so much, everybody who donated as well. I saw the bid war got pretty intense there towards the end, so.
All right, so this is just like intro and game setup. There are a couple choices that Blaze is making right here. So the first being gender. Gender is complete. It doesn't matter in the Blue Lions run, so it's like 100% preference. The other routes do have a gender-specific strategy that you have to do, and then the birthday 12/1 is picked because that date only comes up once. This game during Byleth's birthday gives you a little pop-up and is like, "Hey, it's Byleth's birthday." You really only want that to happen once because it does waste a little bit of time.
And I'm just going into the prologue battle here. I'm going to be changing some settings and then
Stay focused.
just kind of going at it here for a minute. So feel free to keep talking about whatever kind of background / setup stuff you feel is most important for people to know.
Yeah, so prologue here, it's pretty simple. This particular Fire Emblem game has a couple of different map styles. So the first map style that we'll be talking about is Defeat the Commander. So this map right now, it starts as a route. So a route map is where you have to completely just kill every other enemy on the map. But then once Byleth gets up here, it turns into a Defeat the Commander map where all you have to do is kill Costas. So this guy right here, once he is dead, this map is complete. Prologue, it's pretty quick. It's just kind of introducing you to some of the game mechanics, telling you how to get things going. And then Byleth is going to go ahead and just take out Costas right here. And it's pretty easy looking at these level ups, which are not great.
Nope. That's okay, though. I was saying in chat before the run, I think I used up all my good luck today, but we'll see. The way that the skill ups work in this game is you have a percentage-based chance to get a particular skill every time your character levels up. In this case, Leggy, which I'm going to try to be good about using that name as much as I possibly can. There are a few little things that affect that along the way, but the way I always think about it is it's like a bell curve. Most of your characters are going to end up kind of in the middle average, which for Blue Lions is totally fine for every run. Occasionally you'll get kind of like a monster, and then sometimes you're going to get sort of like a weak character, and we got ways to deal with that, so it'll be fine either way. But ideally I would like to see lots of strength and lots of speed every time I level up.
Yeah, so it's essentially a weighted random system where each character is given a value between 1 and 100 for each different stat, and Byleth in particular has like a 55 in strength. So basically a D100 is rolled every level up, and if you land between 1 and 55, you get that strength up. If you land between 56 and 100, you don't get that strength. All right, monastery. So this is the monastery section. This is one of like 3 houses' unique things, and it's very, it's a little buggy. So we saw like an invisible wall get hit there,
It's a
and
little
then
laggy sometimes too.
yeah. So you see the blazes playing on zoomed in, which does reduce a little bit of the lag, and then there are also doors. Doors are the worst in this game. We have no idea how they work, and they may choose to load instantly, and they may take 7 to 8 seconds to load. So you could lose a bunch of time just depending on what the game feels like.
Just the cathedral door, even in casual playthrough, is like, why is this thing not opening?
So you have
It's pretty ridiculous sometimes. When we actually do like PB attempts and things like that for this game, you'll actually point the camera at the floor too because it helps to reduce lag. Personally, I want to give people a feel for the game, so I'm not going to point the camera at the floor when I'm running around in the monastery, but you'll see other speedrunners do that. Especially because we've got our outfit incentive, which is that can probably go ahead and just get closed now, and then let me know what the winner is there, because I'll be swapping that here in just a second.
Oh yeah, it's super important to look good in this game. That's how you go fast. So these first few months are pretty slow. Oh, go ahead.
Did the servant attire win?
The servant attire did win.
All right, here we go then. So just really quickly, there was a new DLC game this week. It doesn't have any bearing on the speedrun, but one cool thing that it did is it gave you the option to change everybody's outfits at the same time. So that actually really helped me out a bit. So originally I was only going to be changing Leggy and Dimitri's outfits, but since I can change all of them now, you get to see everybody running around in their silly clothes. For a little while anyway.
Silly clothes. These are incredible clothes.
Yeah.
They're pretty amazing. I like Sylvan's smoking jacket.
Yeah, Sylvan's, yeah, that's so good.
So yeah, just kind of running around the monastery here. These first few months are pretty slow. The game has a bunch of forced tutorials that are kind of showing you the various mechanics that are going to be happening throughout the rest.
Yeah, one thing to know about this run, I'm going to be spending as little time in the monastery as I can. I'm only going to be going there either because the game forces me to, or because there's something very specific that I have to do. And that's obviously very, very different than most people's casual playthroughs of this game. So we really optimize the monastery segments to just sort of squeeze every little bit of value that we can out of them.
All right, so this battle is absolutely horrendous. So this is the first chapter, and it's actually low-key one of the more difficult chapters to route and to do optimally. So Blaze is going to be using the auto battle feature of this game. Auto battle is very weird. Basically, if you have the same actions happen every time, auto battle is going to do the same things. But if you have a character crit, or you have different strength ups, so you miss a range, then auto battle just does what it wants, and it kind of goes a little bit crazy. So when you're playing this game and you're practicing it, Blaze has to know basically all of the outcomes that can happen, and if any manual adjustments are needed to be made.
Yeah, so a really good example of that right there is Byleth uses a completely different weapon on turn 2, depending on if you get a skill up during the prologue or not, a strength up I should say. So I was actually watching, and she did not get that skill up. So because of that, I had to manually attack that turn. So just little things like that. It's very interesting. Kind of the little what's going on under the hood of this game sometimes is really interesting. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, that's not fun.
Okay, I'm gonna need to do a backup here.
So the goal of this fight, you're basically facing off against the other 2 houses, and you have to defeat them. This is one of the 2 battles in this game where if your character dies, then nothing really happens. So it's a mock battle. You're having the students fight other students. You really can't have permanent death during this. So basically in this fight, Blaze is trying to just route the other classes as quickly as possible, as well as not get any XP on Dimitri. It's very, very important that Dimitri stays a low level, which we'll see for reasons later.
Whoops, that was a mistake. Also, the reason I hate this chapter is because it's the one chapter where you don't have pulse if you make any kind of mistakes.
Yeah, this chapter is just the worst.
And I will also just point out, I said I wasn't going to stress out about and things like that, but my leggy has not gotten a single strength or a single speed yet.
Oh, Leggy's gonna buff up during mock battle.
I want to believe. Everybody, please send Leggy your big energy here.
Yeah, please spam your strength and speed ups in chat. We need all the love that we can get.
Oh, maybe not. No. Oh no.
Focused.
Okay. So because I haven't gotten a strength yet, this is actually kind of awkward.
Yeah, so when you don't have desirable stats, a lot of like the pre-planned routes that go into this don't really work. So Blaze is doing a lot of ad-libbing here and a lot of free.
Much more.
So yeah, so just one really quick thing about me that might explain why I enjoy this game so much is I started by playing a lot of randomizers, in particular Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, and this game you have to improvise so much that it does turn into a bit of a randomizer sometimes. So, but I made it through that battle. That was about the roughest that battle has been in a really long time.
You got time for a couple quick donations?
Absolutely.
So we have $6 from Trixie Fox saying, I like mine with pepperoni. $25 from Zoe Vermillion. Sorry, Trixie, Leggy is stronger than pizza. And $20 from the bottom tier. Congrats on 3K. I really enjoyed watching these marathons. Working from home means I don't have to miss anything. Plus, social interaction while being a hermit. Donation code goes towards naming Kane after yours truly, Raga.
As you.
All right. So this is chapter 2. Just a little bit of an outlook, by the way. There's 22. So we got a ways to go, but it'll speed up. Chapter 2, you're basically going to get introduced to all of the different things that you can do in the monastery during a given month. So the first thing we've already done actually is explore, but we're gonna have some. Wait, okay. Oh my gosh, I'm all like flustered because of that Leggy letting me down. Here we go.
So basically just running.
Yeah.
Basically just running through the various monastery sections. Each house is a little bit different here, so Blaze having all 3 routes prepared, it just kind of throws you off because the different story NPCs are in different locations. So for example, Dimitri and Claude are sitting right here, whereas Edelgard is the other way.
I think I was thinking ahead already to like, okay, what do I do if I just continue to not get strength? And that was throwing me off. But we'll be fine.
Yeah, so just going through the forced quests here. This is the really slow section of the run. Like Blaze was saying, it's just kind of teaching you what the various mechanics are. Very important section here. So in this game, you have your skill goals. So these are the goals that you set for your characters, and it's going to force the level ups for those skills onto those. So switching Dimitri and Annette right there, that's going to enable them to get basically a lot of passive experience in those skills through the instruction, and that'll become important later.
Also, one thing I will just point out really quickly is, for the purposes of the speedrun, it is best to be the worst professor possible and just give horrible advice to all of your students.
Yeah, you don't want your professor level to go up, and you don't want your students to get experience.
So prepare for a lot of disappointment if you're asking me questions. Or if you're asking Leggy questions, I should say. This is all Leggy.
Do you have
All right, so we got practice battle right here. This is the first. This is the game introducing you to the auxiliary battles that you can choose to do on your weeks off. This will be the only one that we see, just because they're slow and we really don't need to grind. Strength. So this is one of the big make or break points of the run. Blaze is just going to park Leggy in this bush right here and let all the enemies come to her. Leggy's pretty good. She's going to be able to just mow them all down. And you just sit here and you watch your level ups and you pray.
Pretty much. I'll get one more after this. Okay. You still haven't gotten any speed, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, so Leggy's stats are very important at the beginning of the run. There are certain strategies that are only doable if you hit certain thresholds.
Whoops. My sword broke.
Yeah, that doesn't usually happen. Normally, Leggy has some more strength here and will be actually one-shotting some people, whereas this Leggy,
Swinging so
Leggy's
much.
lagging behind.
A little bit. Leggy, it's not your fault. It's okay. Don't take it personally. Any comments made towards the Leggy in the game? Not indicative of actual Leggy.
I'll be sure that she knows.
Of course, I will say this would not have happened if pizza, because pizza is amazing and will never do anything to disappoint you.
That's fine. I'm just adding some excitement to the run.
Yes, that's one word for it.
And can I come in with a quick announcement?
Absolutely.
So our goal for this marathon has been upgraded to $6,000, and along with that, there will be some new stretch goals that will be announced throughout the marathon. So definitely tune in for those.
I still have.
Well, that.
Yeah, thank you everybody who has donated so far. It's only Tuesday. Holy crap! And off to a good start. I'm gonna give everybody this cutscene for
Professor.
pits,
I
and
just
second
got
of all,
word
this
from the
will
Knights
give you
that the
all
last of the
just a
thieves
chance
have
to
been
meet the
cornered.
characters
Just as planned. They're
of
in
the Blue
Xanadu,
Lion's
the Red
house.
Canyon.
We certainly
And
can't allow those underhanded thieves to
spoiler
get
alert,
away.
they're not going to be with us
Let's
much
work
longer,
together and do
except
our
for
best to
Annette
take them
and
down.
Dimitri. So
It matters not who we're up against. They will not harm His Highness.
We're just fighting.
one of the
thieves,
reasons
right?
I actually
I don't expect
was
much of a
excited about this
challenge.
run, or
Aren't
am
you a
excited about this
spoilsport?
run,
I'm
is
actually quite excited
Blue
myself.
Lions is personally
Mouse.
my favorite house
There
to
may even be some
speedrun,
cute
and it's
lady
probably the
thieves.
house that casual players of this game
Well,
have
at
played
any
the
rate,
least.
a real battle is a great opportunity
Just,
for us to see
I guess,
how far
because
we've come.
reasons. I don't know. It's
True.
probably
The mock
there's got to be a
battle
low
was
man on the
success.
totem pole
We'll
in
be
terms
fine
of
so long as we
appeal,
stay
and I
the
think
course.
it's pretty clear that it's Dimitri with regards to this game. So a lot of people haven't seen the route, a lot of people haven't seen the story, and a lot of people definitely have not seen the speedrun. So, which is a shame. If one other little quick plug I will give for this run is if you are looking to learn how to speedrun this game, I would definitely recommend starting with Blue Lions, just because it is the least complicated of the three, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if just a quick add-on to that, if you're interested in speedrunning this game, Blaze has some amazing notes for all three major routes that he's put a ton of time into. And the speedrunning Discord for Fire Emblem, there's a lot of helpful people in there. If you're interested at all in this game, there's some great resources out there, and we're always
Is that the one? Thanks a bunch.
Absolutely.
Is that the one? Is that the one? Thanks a bunch. Is that the one? Thanks a come back.
Got 2 more donations that came in from Firebird Lover, $10, and his note
Stay
says,
focused.
"Bees!" Donation goes to naming Edward
I'll
Booper.
cut through.
And then he also sent another $10. Did someone order pizza? Donation goes to naming Rydia Trix.
Nice.
Alright, this chapter is one of the more important ones. It's the first chapter where your students can actually die, quote unquote. Pre-time skip, they don't actually die, they just kind of retreat and they hide in the monastery for the rest of the first. But Blaze went in here. The first thing that he did was unequip Byleth and Dimitri that manipulates the enemies into a specific pattern that you want. That'll make it really super quick. And then the unequips the mages because they have casts which can kill the 2 enemies that are going to be delightfully taking out the rest of your house.
Yeah, we're going on a field trip, and it's time to learn some life lessons here, children.
The Leggy, being the best professor ever, just kind of takes her class and dumps it in the Red Canyon, unequips them, and is like, "Good luck."
Time for the School of Hard Knocks.
So this is the main reason that we play on Classic. In Classic difficulty, your characters, when they die, they get removed from the rest of the game. This is important because it's going to speed up several menus later, as well as not have your students learn anything, which is slow, and it's also going to make it so.
Gosh, I have
anytime
never
you do
had this happen.
instructions.
Hold on. My Byleth or Leggy took so long that I'm actually like a turn behind right here. And some of that may just be for whatever reason the okay, he's fine. The blue, oh gosh.
It's going to take 2 turns.
No. Okay. But for whatever reason, the members of the Blue Lion house, they like to be heroes, particularly Dedue. He does not like to die, so a lot of times this fight will get strung out to the point where I end up like skipping 2 or 3 turns at the end, just to wait for those 2 thieves to finish him off. And that time, that did not happen. They were having a good day. So
yeah, it's a source of a little bit of RNG in this run. It just it kind of varies depending on how long it's going to take those 2 guys to kill off the rest of your house.
Yeah.
You also saw Blaze moving Dimitri up there. It's very important that Dimitri doesn't get any experience. So if Dimitri was just sitting in that bush punching away at those guys, he would have got a bunch of experience. So moving him up, just make sure that we keep him at level 1.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more later about why it's so important that he stays as level 1, but that is, just so it's been said now, like my goal is to keep him at level 1 until the time skip. Because of the way the time skip mechanics work. Alright. The game is probably going to give me stat here because I'm so far behind. Yep.
Oh, that's an oof. Yeah, if you ever see a speed up there, it's not good. So when you certify into a different class, all of the classes have different minimum stats. So if you have not hit that threshold yet, you're going to get a bump up. Usually you don't see that speed up because your speed has actually leveled up naturally. But getting that little boost is kind of an indication that you're behind.
Just a bit.
All right, so this is a forced quest, battalion quest. This is where we pick up Stride, which is super powerful, and you'll see it come up in the, not in this chapter, but in the next chapter. Battalions are a unique feature of this game. They're basically little add-ons to your units. They provide a passive stat boost as long as they are not completely worn out. So this, the battalion that Leggy gets right away is pretty good. You get a lot of extra physical damage as well as some other various stats. The important part of battalions is they have a special gambit attack. This can either be a like support attack that will like change your move speed, give you defense, different things like that, or it will be an actual attack. So you saw Blaze use the gambit in that first battle against the boss. So basically it can be that attack will rattle a unit as well as root it. Rattled is a specific status that it basically gets rid of your battalion, which is bad because the battalion's providing a ton of passive stats. In this upcoming chapter, there is Unkillable Axe Guy, which can gambit your Leggy and make it so that a lot of her defenses are gone, which is really, really bad. So you just, in this chapter, you really, really don't want to get rattled.
Yeah, there's only, it's another source of RNG in the game. It's not, well, I shouldn't say at this point that anything is particularly terrifying just because I'm terrified of this Leggy right now, but we'll see how it goes. But, you know, we're just going to have to figure out a way to get through some of these early battles, I think, and that was a good example of that on the Chapter 2 battle there.
Yeah, so this battle, it's kind of interesting. It's the only Fog of War map in the run, and basically you're trying to find the source of the fog, which is this this mage unit right here. Once you defeat this mage unit, the map is going to switch to a Kill the Commander map, and then you'll see the commander pop up in the upper.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, it's a good level up.
I got strength and speed. I was very excited.
Lord Lenato, I am so...
Absolutely.
Lord Lenato.
Be mindful. Stay focused. Be mindful.
Thank you. So there you see that rattled status. So Leggy lost her battalion, losing a lot of defensive stats. So Blaze is just going to kind of sit here and heal.
On the plus side, I've got 2 really good levels this battle, so I'm feeling much better now. We are back on track.
Good.
So early on, there's some of these battles that are going to be quite a bit longer. As the game develops and we get access to more abilities, they're gonna, on the whole, get shorter and shorter and shorter. So, this is kind of the part of the game where you do have to deal with a little bit more of like some of the random elements, but also just kind of like slog through some longer battles. But I like that there's a little bit of variety personally, because these longer battles are sort of fun tactically to kind of play out all the different turns. And then some of the battles we're going to do later on that we can finish in literally like 1 or 2 turns are also very fun and kind of flashy. So it's good to get both, I think.
Yeah, so basically there's like 3 big speed tools in this game. So right now we only have access to stride. That last map, you basically don't need stride, but you'll see the power of it on this next one. And all the tutorial sections are done, which is really nice. So we're just going to be able to skip right to the battle. That's going to save a whole lot of time. No having to dip into the monastery and do a bunch of junk. Just able to go from battle to battle.
Yep. We're going to go into the monastery 2 more times in the run. Once is going to be to recruit a specific character that we need, and once is going to be up to recruit a character and get a class that we need. So, also one quick thing I just want to point out, because it's a routing change that I made recently that I'm pretty happy with. Dimitri just got an ability called Dex +4 that he gets from using or learning the riding ability. That Dex +4 is going to give him a +4 critical chance for the entire second half of the run when he's actually attacking. And the job that we're going to actually have him be in the second half of the game is a Wyvern Rider, which requires axe and flying. So now that I've learned that Dex +4, I've switched his abilities, or technically they're called his goals, so that now he'll start learning his flying. He'll start taking his flying lessons now.
Yeah, dexterity is a particularly important stat on Dimitri. He's going to be using axes for a majority of the late game, and axes are notoriously inaccurate. So having a high dex stat and boosting up Dimitri's accuracy, he's going to be much more of a beast than if you just kind of left him as.
Here goes.
All right, and there's Stride. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so Stride enables you to move 5 more tiles, which is pretty ridiculous because violent space movement is 4 at this point. So basically doubling Leggy's movement just enables you to clear these maps super.
Got time for a quick donation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have $25 from Oasis. Blaze, where are my bees? I want to unleash the bees. Oh well,
I'm sorry.
I suppose since there's an incentive to name someone Booper, I will contribute to that as well. Bees.
Oh man, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much, everybody making my community. Makes me super happy. So thank you for that. We just got kind of like a relic weapon for Leggy as well, which is called Sword of the Creator, which you'll start seeing here pretty quickly.
Yeah, Sword of the Creator is pretty important. So weapons in this game have durability, and Sword of the Creator will refresh its durability every time you rest. And when we're hopping from battle to battle in the calendar section, every single week is counted as a rest. So Sword of the Creator is going to be the primary weapon for Leggy for the remainder of the game, and it's also 2 range, which is a unique aspect of it, which is going to be very helpful.
Yeah, it shows up in some of the cutscenes. It's kind of like a whip sword. I don't know. Is sort of the way they make it look. It's pretty interesting. But yes, very
useful, and you'll be seeing quite a bit of it for the remainder of the game. Also, if you've seen any of the Smash stuff, it's like the glowing sword that Leggy uses in Smash. This mission is interesting for a couple of reasons. One thing I will sort of mention right now at the outset is it's going to be the first mission where we fight a monster. So you have that to look forward to once we get to the end. The second is I'm going to pick up an accessory, which is super, super important. Sonny was just talking about how important accuracy is as a stat, and we're going to be getting an accessory called the accuracy ring in this battle, which we'll be using for the rest of the game.
Stay focused.
So this is another battle of Leggy against the world. In the Blue Lions speedrun, basically in three of the 4 speedruns, you have to run around this tower in like a spiral motion, and it's a big pain. It's a lot of movement. There's a lot of enemies, and just depending on how your Leggy is feeling that morning, you may or may not run into issues here. There are some enemies that can rattle you. There's a lot of different mob types that are going to be just kind of charging Leggy as she tries to scale this tower. In the Golden Deer speedrun, you're able to just warp past it, and it's very, very quick. But this is a really good opportunity for Leggy to get some experience, specifically because this one doesn't have very much strength and speed. Also, Blaze is taking a very specific path here that will enable him to like kind of dodge some of the more dangerous units by going around the outside here and picking up that accuracy ring.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I was going to mention is it might look, I'm just kind of moving up the map, but there's actually times, oh shoot, that was a mistake. I'm going to have to, well, yeah, well now I'm definitely going to have to put that back. I wanted to use my battalion there, and I just went a little bit too fast through the attack slot. So,
yeah,
anyway.
so a couple things. So you can see the little triangles in the bottom left of the enemies. Those are their battalions. So you see the ones that have battalions just kind of got baited into that corner, and now they're going to be chasing Leggy up the tower. You really don't want to engage those because they can really ruin your day. They do a lot of damage, and that rattled thing, it takes away a whole bunch of your stats. You also saw the Divine Pulse mechanic, which is a super cool thing that is unique to 3 houses. It enables you to back up turns. So you saw Blaze there just kind of take it a turn back and redo the action with a different action. You're going to be seeing that a little bit later on. Basically, if you need to switch the RNs, which are random numbers in this game, you can go back turns and switch your actions, which will give you different outcomes. Not super important in the early game. A lot of it is pretty scripted if you have a good Leggy, but for the most part, it's going to be used in the late game because a lot of the battles were very underleveled for.
What are you talking about? I'm not going to have to Divine Pulse. Everything's going to go just like that crit that I got there.
Excellent.
Okay, now I have to figure out how to do this because there's a lot of archers here. There's the monster, by the way. And there goes my friend.
So the monster is unique. You'll be seeing a few of them in the speedrun, but basically they have these tiles. So you see those 4 solid yellow squares underneath the monster. They have 2 different states. They can either be partially broken or completely broken. So you'll see them kind of go to a little crack phase or to a completely gone phase.
I did not mean to do that. Sorry. Go ahead.
The goal is to basically completely break a tile. That'll enable Leggy to do the most possible damage to this monster. But right now, having a little bit of a hard time with it. This dude, he hits pretty hard. So you want to make sure that your Byleth stays nice and healthy.
Yeah, I just I did the Divine Pulse once because I think it was an unexpected death the first time, and then. One of the interesting things, unsurprisingly, is if you Divine Pulse and you do the exact same thing again, you just die again. So it's kind of like insanity if you just, gotta change it up.
So Blaze moved Leggy onto a stronghold tile here. This is the backup strat. It's slow, but it's safe. So this tile will be healing up Leggy every single turn, and you basically just stand here and take up.
And I'm having to deal with a little bit of garbage. Some of these guys have caught up to me, caught up to Leggy here. Ooh, I got a nice level though. But this is pretty safe, so I'm kind of just gonna wait it out here on the stronghold tile until I can finish this thing off.
Yep. So you also see a couple of different weapon types in this game. So Blaze has primarily been using the Gauntlet weapon type, Gauntlets are unique. They hit really fast and they 4x, so they're going to hit 4 times. They're a little bit weaker than swords, but for monsters that you're not worried about counterattacks, you can go ahead and just hit them 4 times and you'll do a whole bunch. That was a good backup. Nice job.
Yeah, thanks. I just feel bad that I basically misclicked twice in that fight, but it's okay.
They didn't know. You didn't have to say that.
Professor, I have all please.
Someone out there is judging me.
Of course.
No, it's good. I feel, by the way, we were talking about Leggy earlier. Leggy is pretty much back on track at this point, so I think we're going to be fine. Good job, Leggy. Just a little bit of a late bloomer. There are certain numbers that I want to have by certain. We're getting there. One of the reasons I talked earlier about why I like the blue so much, particularly for people hoping to learn this game. One of the reasons for that is an ability that we haven't used yet, but we're going to use upcoming here in Chapter 6, which is called Rally. Rally is going to give your character that you rally stat increases, and it is native to Annette, which is one of the reasons that we kept her at the beginning of the run.
Yeah, Annette is pretty cool. She gets some neat stuff.
I'll pop in here real quick just to remind everyone we still have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, name the main character incentive, coming up after this run, so we definitely need some names for that. No names have been picked.
Whoops. Explore. I'm going to go recruit a character here. Very useful for Chapter 6 speedrun purposes, but also is a nice utility character to have later in as well. Shamir, who is like the bow assassin type professor. If you haven't figured it out yet, the story or the school is basically Hogwarts. So you have all your different professors who are masters of their skill sets that are teaching the students.
Yeah, so in this game, you can recruit other units, and all of them have different recruit requirements. So if you're recruiting a character from another house, you basically have to woo them. You have to show them that you're an amazing professor and you really want them to join your house. But the Knights of Saros, they have very relaxed requirements. So Shamir recruits for 100% free right there. She also comes as a sniper, which is a class you usually don't have access to until way later. So she's a little bit overpowered right now.
Here goes.
So here's my first rally. If you play the game casually, this is for me, this was probably my favorite battle casually because it just introduces all this really cool mechanical stuff to you. There are teleport tiles, doors, all this cool stuff in this fight. And then in the speedrun, we just shoot the Death Knight through the wall.
Yeah, this is a really interesting map casually. It's either a rout everybody but the Death Knight or kill
to work.
So naturally in the speedrun, we take the path of least resistance and just go ahead and take out the single unit instead of taking out the like 40 some odd other.
When I first started running this game and saw this was the strategy for this map, it blew my mind.
Me too. Because I totally played this game casually before I ever started speedrunning it.
Oh yeah, I put in over like 250 hours casually, and I was just like, okay, cool. Oh, whoa, what?
Yeah. That went very smoothly, by the way. The Death Knight does have a habit of getting angry at Shamir, unsurprisingly, and he left her alone that time.
Yeah, so that strategy in particular only really works. It just barely works. So Shamir being a sniper gives her an extra range, which enables her to hit the Death Knight from that starting tile. Annette's rallies speed, which makes it so Shamir doesn't get double counterattacked. If she got double counterattacked on any of those attacks, she would have died immediately. And basically, if the Death Knight crits ever, she dies immediately. So it just barely works, which is just fantastic because it's fast.
Yeah, the rally is required to the point that in the Black Eagles route, where you don't have a net, you actually go basically rent her just for that battle so that you can do that strat. Oh man, okay, so Chapter 7's coming up here. There's definitely a lot to talk about as well, but one thing For people who have watched other speedruns of this game, you probably haven't seen Blue Lions because that one is less run. But if you've played this game or done some of the other runs, you will know that this battle is notorious for also being a run killer because it's kind of like your army against the other two houses on the same battlefield, and there's really tough units. But the nice thing is they're basically all in the blue. So because we are the Blue Lions, we don't have to deal with them.
Yeah, Blue Lions definitely has an easier time of this battle. It's still by no means free, but the dude and Ingrid are the two real like big, beefy units that are really, really hard to kill. And luckily, we don't have.
Yeah, so it's actually more. It's neat with the Blue Lions trying to optimize this fight because you have to kind of make some decisions between safety versus aggression, and the thing you actually have to watch out for is stuff getting behind you, which could happen. We'll see, but that's kind of like the main thing that I'm going to be concerned about as I move down the battlefield here.
Yeah, so this map is just absolutely horrendous. So it's a gigantic field. This is one of the larger maps of the first phase of this game. And like Blaze was saying, you're basically tasked with taking out the entire other houses. So not only do you have every other unit from the other houses, you have a bunch of these support units as well that you're going to have to take out. So unfortunately, there was a tragic accident in the Red Canyon, and the Blue Lions house comes into this fight very undermanned. So you really only have 2 units that are worth anything. You just got Flame, which is really lucky. She's in here to bail. And Leggy, who's going to be doing most of the legwork.
The leggy work. The other thing I should mention about this battle, just in case Flame happens to die here, is it's totally okay if your units die in this battle, except for Leggy and Dimitri, because it's considered a mock battle, so they will come back at the end.
Yeah, so Flan is basically just playing heal bot here. She's going to be attached to Leggy at the hip, and just going to go ahead and heal her as much as possible over the turns until... This is also one of the more RNG heavy components of the run. So you see, like, it kind of flashed there for a second. The other 2 houses are fighting in the far south of this map. And just depending on your RNG, they might completely take each other out. I've had runs of this where they will actually kill the other 2 lords, which is insane. And you can save up to like a minute to 2 minutes there. Or you can just have them do absolutely nothing to each other, or have one house completely steamroll the other one.
It looks like the Black Eagles are doing well this time. Oh man, yeah, this Leggy is blooming nicely.
Yeah, got to 24. 24 is an important strength cutoff there. It enables a faster strat in an upcoming.
Yep. So yeah, no more Leggy concerns. But yeah, it looks like Edelgard succeeded this time, which is, I would say that is less common of a scenario. I would say probably 75% of the time. Usually it's Raphael takes her out, and then he's kind of like the end boss that you have to deal with. But in this case, Edelgard had a good fight. And see, here's Lindhard trying to sneak past me. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, this is a pretty good fight. So there are also units that just like don't like to move in this. So the general path of action is down to the left, because to go ahead and aggro those units so they do move. Petra in this case, she just likes to sit there. And then the other lord, so Claude is going to be sitting in the corner over here, basically doing nothing. With his gang of archers, so you have to go over there and take him out because he wants you to come to him.
Yep. I actually don't want to aggro him though, because he will come up and gambit you if you get too. So it's hard to tell on the map because all of their aggro tiles are overlaid, but I don't want to get too far to the right until this next turn.
Yeah, so the purple there is the aggro radius of enemies. You might have seen it on the chapter 5 as well. Blaze is moving very, very intentionally to make sure to be as safe as possible and aggro the units that you want at.
Yeah, I don't. There's certain fights that I turn it on because it makes visual guide. But yeah, like if you're being careless, like Claude will just come up and gambit you and probably end your battle. So got to be a little careful there at the end. But that went really smoothly.
Yeah, that was a very good fight.
Thanks.
We got a $2 donation from Rainico. No comment, but they did put it towards naming the KOTOR character.
Cool.
So I guess this is as good of time as any to start talking about some of the speed tech in this game. So it might just look like Blaze is just kind of moving units throughout the map. There's actually a lot of subtleties that you can lose a whole bunch of time on. So you'll see like on runs that are a little bit more ideal, some very, very fast menuing. So you can use your bumpers to kind of go between units. It works very weird, requires a lot of practice to actually know which units it's going to go to. It kind of reads like a book. It's super strange. And then also if you hold Y when you're dragging your cursor, it goes really, really quick. So I think Blaze has been using it on some of the longer movements. It's a little bit less precise when you're doing the little short movements around as well.
Yeah. A lot of that, the second half of this month always throws me off before you get to your first like picking weekend, and I always feel like I did something wrong. So yeah, we're good. But in the second half of the run, when the battles are a little bit they're very, very scripted in the second half of the fight, or the second half of the run in particular. You'll probably see me menuing and moving around on the map a lot more quickly. I've definitely had to play it safe with some of these earlier battles, so.
Right.
So this battle, I'm just gonna mention. I'm gonna just preview because Sunny doesn't know what I'm gonna do. There's a cutoff where you can kind of do like a faster battle, or you can do like a safer battle. I'm right at that threshold, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the safer battle. But it doesn't have too much time. But it's this is an interesting fight in the story in particular.
Is that the one?
Yeah. So this is Remire. This is where the true villain of the run is kind of exposed. This map is unique. It starts as like a save the other people map. It's kind of weird, but then at turn 3 it's going to switch to a kill the commander map, which is very, very handy. So Blaze is just trying to get Leggy into a position where she can kill the commander, and it's kind of up these stairs. There's a big armored knight dude. 24 was that important cutoff, so Leggy can now one-shot those guys.
Yes, and I'm gonna just make sure that that is the case here, because, yep, perfect. You can use Shamir as a backup, otherwise, which is a way that you, because otherwise what happens is they kind of pile up on this staircase, because it's just one wide, and can actually block your path to the boss. In addition to causing you some time loss, just clearing the path. It also puts Dimitri in danger, which is not fun to have to deal with in the middle of a battle. So
yeah, and then the last little bit of speed tech, you see Blaze just immediately like clicking on Leggy and then clicking on Solon right there. So that'll bring up the attack menu, so you don't have to like move right next to the unit, then click A, then click attack. That's really slow. You could also switch to different combat arts while you're there, as well as switch weapons.
Professor,
I see a question in chat. Is part 1 almost the same for all 3 houses? It's very similar. All of the maps are the same, outside of the Black Eagles route, which has 1 different map, or 2 different maps, but the strategies are different. So the Golden Deer house gets access to warp really early, which enables them to do some faster strategies.
yep, and then on the social side of things, the Black Eagles route has to worry about support being built up, so it makes for a very different play experience that way as well. But Blue Lions is just chill. We just get to do the battles, and we don't or not. So, and we don't have to worry about Lysithia getting like a point of magic that she has like a 18% chance or 16% chance to fail. This is where I need to explore. Okay. This is dance comp month.
We do wind up getting warp. It's just much, much later in the Blue Lions route.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm lagging really bad. There we go.
Before the
Yeah, monastery sections are weird. There's really no consistency to like how they load and if they decide they want to load.
So there's two important things I'm gonna do. This is actually the last time I'm in the run, by the way. The two things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna recruit Manuela because she is gonna be my warper. In order to make sure that she gets there, I have to immediately change her goals to faith and none. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is we have to choose our character for the dance-off.
Who are you gonna pick, Blaze?
You know, I have this sort of spare character lying around that I don't know what to do with yet, Flane, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and choose her.
Yeah, I think she might be able to do it. She's like 1 billion years old, and she probably picked up some dance skills somewhere, right?
Yeah, apparently she's very charismatic. It's hard to tell, you know, kind of looking at her, but that's what the stats say, so.
If you have yet to choose a... Oh, thank you, Professor.
Okay, so we are officially done in the monastery.
Yeah, this is the last month you actually have to do anything in the monastery. You have to pick your candidate for the dance competition. Flane handily comes with enough charm to win the dance competition, so might as well just use her because it's slow raising up another character to have enough charm.
Yeah, the game forces you to have her anyway, so you might as well use her for something. Here we go. We kind of spoiled it already, but, you know, place your bets, I guess. So I feel like this would actually be... I feel like this would actually be a pretty even bout if it was fair.
Nah, Dorothea's gonna win, 100%.
Dorothea does have some skills, that is for sure. And don't count Leone out, she's a fighter.
Yeah, my money's on Leone.
Well, prepare to be disappointed then, Zoe, sorry.
Rigged.
Indeed. It's a speedrun, of course it's rigged. Happy birthday, Dimitri, by the way.
So dance is the next big speed, like a speed tech in this game. So you already saw stride, which enables you to move 5 more tiles, which is hilarious, and it makes you move across the entire map. Dance is going to enable a character to go twice. So Blue Lions actually gets to abuse this the most, due to a battalion that they're going to get later on. But dancers are very, very overpowered. So seeing as we only have like 1 good unit at this point, we really want that unit to go more than once.
Yeah, we're going to put dance to good use right away here. And then, yeah, like Sunny was saying, Blue Lions is the only one that gets access to what I call the double dance later on, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Blue Lions has some very, very fun strategies for later maps because of that.
All right. Make her a dancer.
This map is this map's a whole lot of fun. There's a lot of different things going on here. So there's 4 lizards in this map. They're in basically one in each corner of the map, and Blaze has to move to a very specific point in the north area here in order to aggro the top right lizard so it doesn't go to Canada. It likes to really, really run off if you don't have a character close enough. So in order to do this map quickly, you gotta make sure to get up there as fast as possible.
And that is the one thing that can happen. Is what you can have one of your gambits miss. You really need both these gambits to hit. There we go.
So yeah, just to switch the RN pattern that Blaze was on, you see him use that Divine Pulse. When you use Divine Pulse and do a different action, it's going to change the outcomes that happen downstream. So if you were to do the same action, you would have the exact same outcome, but by switching it up and doing the Manuela attack right there, you're going to go ahead and get a different outcome for the gambit. Yeah, it's in the north, Canada. That's where the lizard likes to.
This is actually one of the few fights that I feel is, and it's because you don't have access to warp right now. In all of the other routes, you would have warp by now usually, and what you can actually do is you can basically warp Byleth up and or Leggy up, and then they're going to be able to start working on this second round right away. But because we don't have warp, we have to kind of wait for some of this other stuff. Oh, what do I want to do here? Yeah, so that looks so bad.
Yeah, so that specific line, So a net has a gambit that displaces the unit, so it pushes that lizard one back, and that enables Leggy to get up into that tile, and that's going to aggro that lizard. Other houses have different strategies of dealing with this, like let's mention warp. Warp can put you into position to make sure that that lizard doesn't.
Stay
Thankfully,
vigilant.
we're going to be okay here. I was a little worried Manuela was going to die there.
Be mindful.
And then battle's over.
Yeah. So you see, hitting broken tiles does a lot of damage.
Bye, Dad. Yeah, I'm actually not watching chat right now, but if anybody, you can go ahead and put them into chat if you have questions about just the game or the speed run, stuff like that. Because I think a lot of people get pretty shocked when they see that you condense down a game that most people, when they play casually, takes 40 to 50 hours to under 2 hours. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the game turns into just a lot of load screens. But thankfully, you have little Leggy right here that you get to make dance with the motion controls.
I need to focus on that a little bit more, I think, here.
Yeah,
I'm going to make that a goal for the second half of the for dancing.
So speaking of the little leggy dancing, I played this, like I mentioned, for over 250 hours. It was at about hour 210 when I found out that you actually have control over her on the loading screens.
It's glorious. I wish every game used some mechanic like this.
So there are a couple questions in chat, Blaze. If you want to field them, we got what is your favorite route to run, and then we got how hard is it to start speedrunning?
My favorite route to run currently don't have to deal with a lot of the what I consider tedious in the case of Black Eagles, which is the Edelgard social stuff, or just kind of annoying RNG in the case of the Golden Deer. I think the Blue Lions is just the easiest, most straightforward run to do. That being said, I like the other ones just fine. That's just my personal preference. I have not done the church route yet, just so you know. So there is technically a fourth route that is speedrun viable. I just do not do it. And then what was the second question again?
How hard is it to start speedrunning this game?
I mean, for me, it was actually, I feel like it was pretty difficult, mainly because, Sunny, I should give you a little bit of credit here. So Sunny made the first written guides for this game, and they were super, super helpful when I was starting. But the strategies changed very quickly, and the guides just did not keep up for a while. And that made it very difficult for me to learn. I think at this point, there's more stuff out there. I've really tried to document and share what I know about the game, and I think it's probably easier now than it was when I was learning a few months ago.
Yeah, I learned these, at least the Black Eagle run, using Sunny's notes, and there was a high barrier to entry just because of the nature of speedrunning Fire Emblem, but overall, definitely not too bad.
Yeah, so this map in particular, you get to see some really, really fun strategies. So a net having that rally ability is super good. Kranya, the enemy that Leggy just killed, is usually super, super terrifying, especially in the other routes. But having rally makes her pretty much free. And then after you kill Kranya, all of your units get a refresh. It's technically the same turn, so you see the stride proceeding like onto Leggy throughout the same turn, and that's going to enable her to get up to the enemy up here and go ahead and finish off this battle very, very quickly. This is actually one of the harder ones to route.
In my opinion, in the other two houses, the enemy that I defeated, before this sort of little cutscene interlude played out. But yeah, the Blue Lions, the barrier for defeating her because of rally in particular is so much lower, and that's one of the reasons I really like the route.
All right, so we had another question. Who is your favorite character? I know personally, my favorite character is Lysethia.
Mine is Petra. I love Petra.
I'm with Sunny. My favorite character is Lysethia.
She's just so good and dark. It's great.
And her story is probably like my favorite, like just her support conversations.
There is no wrong answer to that question, though, except for
yes,
that one.
Yeah, there is.
Lawrence is pretty bad. Ash is pretty bad.
Ferdinand von Ayer,
Ferdinand's great.
not great.
I can't wait for chapter 16 when I tell you all the.
Yeah, chat. What is your favorite character? We got a Dorothea in.
Yay, we got
I'm
warp.
getting it.
That's not like RNG dependent or anything. I'm just always very happy that I get warp.
All right, so moving right along through the first section of this run, like we said, the beginning part is very, very slow, and then it just kind of speeds up really, really quickly. Once you get access to the basically big three movement techs, we have stride, we have dance, we have warp. We're now going to start blazing through some of these later.
Indeed. This is kind of like the finale for the story of the first half, by the way. It's hard to keep track. We're in chapter 11 right now, just so people know. And I mentioned earlier there's 22 chapters. So this is kind of like the halfway point of the game. But also, this is the second to last battle of the first half of the game before the time skip.
Yeah, it's the halfway part story-wise, but time-wise, it happens pretty late, just because the beginning part takes.
Yeah, the second half of the speedrun goes. Whoops. Second half of the speedrun goes significantly faster than the.
Let's take them out.
Let us
Yeah,
away.
so again, abusing stride. It
Stay
hits a
focused.
very big area, so it's hitting most of the units there when Shamir goes ahead and uses it. Manuela is going to silence that very specific enemy. That caster there can be kind of a terror. So we're basically moving into enemy territory and just standing there, and having that caster be able to use his abilities is very, very bad, and you can wind up with a dead character.
So this is the first turn where we're going to see all of the big three in action. So I just did stride. Now we're going to do dance. Whoops. Oh man.
Here goes.
I'm backwards on my left and right toggles right now. But
Yeah,
anyway,
so-
and there's warp.
Flicking through the characters there, that's one of the more technical parts of the speedrun to go. You got to know exactly where your toggle is going to wind up. That's a very leggy caught up quick.
Yeah, Leggy's looking just fine. I didn't even have to burn the energy drop, which I was worried about.
Yeah, the energy drop is a permanent +2 strength up, and really you want that to go on Dimitri, but if your leggy is bad, you can just use it there.
So the big thing about warp, and if this was mentioned already, I kind of ignored the elevation of the map, so I was actually able to warp up onto that platform rather than having to kind of fight my way around the sides, which is the intended way of doing the fight.
Yeah, warp makes a lot of things much, much faster. Later on, we'll get access to a flyer, which can just go over those terrains naturally, but until then, we got to make do with it.
We get kind of like a quick half month in the monastery here.
Yeah, so that was kind of the big plot twist was revealed. So if you don't want spoilers, we're going to be talking about spoilers. So basically, the Flame Emperor was revealed to be Edelgard. So the Black Eagle's house is now the enemy, and they're attacking the monastery in this chapter. So this is the only chapter that is different in the first part between the houses, just because as the Black Eagles, you're playing as Edelgard. So you are attacking the monastery, whereas the rest of the houses are defending the monastery. The defending map is actually much quicker. It's a defeat the commander map, and you just have to take out Edelgard. The other maps are a little bit longer, but it's just one of the quirks of this game is having to kind of figure out what's different between the routes.
Especially when you have to have all three of them in your head at the same time. Very fun. One quick thing I just want to shout out. Dimitri just learned the ability breaker, which means he has axe skill level B now, which means I am good to go on the Wyvern Rider front for the second half of the game. He gets it. I've been testing. That's one little change that I made. And and I think it's just better overall because of the way his skill stuff works. It works about 95% of the time, and there's a backup for the times that it
Stay
doesn't work,
focused.
but it's always nice when he gets that before the time
Let us
skip.
away.
Yeah, so each
work.
class in this game has different certification requirements. So to get the Wyvern Rider class, you need flying and you need axe. So just by leveling up those skills via passive instruction, Dimitri's going to be good to go for part. If you have them at lower levels, you can try the certification anyway, but the percentage is going to differ. So in a couple of the other routes, you can go for a certification a little bit early, but your percentage is obviously going to be lower.
Yeah, you have to at least kind of have studied for the test, even if you're not totally ready for it.
Yeah. This chapter can also be a little bit scary if your leggy is a little bit understated. Edelgard's kind of a beast here. You need 28 strength to 1.
Yeah, I think I had just enough, so we're
Yeah,
good.
you're good.
Yep.
So there was a question. Why are you giving your students such bad advice?
The reason we give the bad advice is it's the shortest post-battle cutscene, plus it keeps your levels at a minimum for your professor levels, and every time you professor level up, you also get a cutscene.
Yep. And
Also, it's just funny.
like I said in chat, we have time skip here. So this is unique because you don't have a monastery section before the next battle. So any prep you had to have been done before that last battle. And time skip is very, very important. I don't know if you want me to explain it or not.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to quickly mention that Dimitri is now an emo pirate, but go ahead.
Yeah, emo pirate is the best pirate. He's great. So time skip on normal mode will automatically level your characters to level 20 if they were any level before that. Now lords in particular, Dimitri, they get classed to their advanced class before they get leveled. This is really important. I'm not sure what exactly the stats are on Dimitri's class, but it really doesn't matter. Basically, what you need to know is that he gets classed to an advanced class, which then gives a bump to his base stats because he didn't have those base stats before, and his advanced class has the minimum stats that it has to be at. And then he gets rolled 19 levels at those advanced growth rates. So he basically got switched to his advanced class, leveled up 19 times at the advanced rates, and he's now a beast.
We can hope. Yeah, 31 strength, 24 speed. I'm good at that.
He's pretty good right now.
That guy does not like to die for some reason, and it adds at least one turn to fight here. That's okay.
Yeah, this map is pretty cool. It's a little bit more unique in the way it happens. It starts as a defeat the commander map. So we're basically running up to the commander here that's on the far right. There's a lot of units in the way, but Leggy and Dimitri take them out pretty quickly. And then your other students join you. Sorry, your other students join you throughout the fight.
My other student.
Yeah, your other student. If you take too long, they actually pop up in the corners, and then the enemies go to attack them. And they are not as strong as Leggy and Dimitri, so there is a possibility of death.
I'm going to move to the bush, and then Dimitri's going to move up here, and probably I'm going to have to wait one more for this pack to clear out in front of the commander who's up there. His name is Pyardo. He is very annoying.
Yeah, and this is one of the other little RNG things about this map. So after you take him out the first time, he's going to choose to run away. The direction that he runs is completely RNG. He can run north or south. I'm not 100% sure what's faster than the Lions run, but other runs,
It's
you kind
north.
of cross your fingers.
Yeah, we want north. The reason why you'll see... Otherwise, if you go south, you have to open the gate, and then the nice thing is he'll come running back to you, but it does take an extra turn. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that went pretty smoothly. Yeah, so Royal Blue Wizard posted in chat that the growth differences for High Lord. So Dimitri got leveled at 5% more strength, 5% and 20% more HP. So both of those values are very important.
Yep. It's just the best way to do it. It makes a huge difference, considering some of the margins and some of the fights that you have to just getting a few extra points of strength or whatever the other kind of highlighted stats are for that class make just a huge difference.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen on hard or maddening mode. So that's one of the big barriers to routing those out is you don't get that auto level, so you don't have a super overpowered lord. So if anybody in chat wants to take a stab at routing hard or maddening, feel free. It'll be pretty difficult.
We will all laugh at you and then be impressed when you do it.
Alright, so just some classing here. Dimitri is going to become a Wyvern Rider. As much as Armor Lord is good, being able to fly is much, much.
I guess he needed some magic for some reason. I'm also going to sell my tea leaves, getting accidental tea parties. So that's a personal preference.
You don't want any tea parties, but
I do not.
Dimitri needs his tea.
I do not want to take a tea party.
And
I'm
actually,
sure chat would love to see some tea parties, but they're not great for the speedrun.
and Blue Lions gets access to tea parties last, so there's fewer times you can make that mistake.
All right. So coming up here, this is the biggest menuing sequence of the game. I'm probably not going to do an amazing job at it, but I'm going to try to do it adequately. So if you're a fan of menuing, watch closely for the next minute or so.
Yeah, this is another one of the things that is pretty technical in this game is just making sure to do these menus as fast as possible. You'll see that's really what separates top times from lower times. It's just kind of these little things. It's not like the big strategy sweeping differences. A lot of your time save will come from just being clean on your mechanics.
This fight's also a little bit finicky, so I might have to improvise a little bit, but after this fight, it's pretty much smooth sailing for the rest of the run.
All right, yeah, this map is fairly terrifying. So Blaze is going to be doing a lot of the menuing for the remainder of the game here. So swapping around some classes. So Seth needs to go to Cavalier. He's going to be a stride holder for a lot of the remainder of the game. Switching a battalion onto Dimitri. That is going to be basically just for stats. And then taking the battalions off of Flame and Manuela, they're going to be swapped around a little bit later. Then going to go ahead and do some purchases. The very important purchase here is the Brave Axe onto Dimitri. So Brave weapons hit 4 times, and the Brave Axe is the most powerful weapon you can really realistically get right now. It only has 30 charges, so usage of the Brave Axe is going to be very, very important. You want to minimize that as much as possible because you need a lot of swings for the final mission. So going to be using a Silver Axe in the meantime if you don't need that Brave Axe.
Is that the one?
I almost had it really good. That was the only major flub here is I needed to, well, I guess I didn't really need to replenish that battalion, but
Come back.
anyway, that was pretty good.
That was really good.
Yeah, thanks.
The knights.
I'm gonna also a little
What's my
bit
strat?
respectfully disagree with the Brave Axe being the most important because the way the route is currently configured, I would say the Short Axe is actually the most important weapon in my arsenal right now. Because it is ranged.
Yeah, so this map is pretty cool. Basically, the enemy forces are attacking the monastery, and we're trying to lure them into a trap. So the first map objective of this is you have to get this little NPC with the hat up to the archer station. So by using some auto battles and just kind of progressing through turns, he's going to slowly make his way up the map. And then, after you have set fire to the trap, the map objective changes and you have a defeat the commander map. So while it might look like Dimitri is just kind of sitting on this side doing nothing, he's going to be just kind of getting a bunch of experience getting in position for the second half of the map. You also saw Blaze unmount Dimitri. So when Dimitri is mounted, those archers eat him alive. By having him dismounted, he's able to kind of survive those attacks much easier.
What on earth did I just do? There we go. Okay, that's fine. Alright, and now we're hoping that this progresses second half and also Dimitri doesn't die during this turn here. Yep, okay, so that part's good. Okay, he didn't progress, so I'm gonna just scoot forward a little bit more.
Yeah, that Pegasus Rider got in the way. Unfortunately, our little friend does not have pass, so he can't walk through the Pegasus Knight. Leggy's going to have to probably help him out.
There we go. As long as I can get through everything. And I can't. Okay. Well, let's do this. Oh man, I'm also like half dead. Let's see. What if I just go up here and wait? Now time for the improvising.
Yeah, things don't always go as planned, so a lot of learning to speedrun this game is kind of figuring out how to deal with the back.
Actually, I think I can go one more there. Things rarely go as planned. This should be okay now.
Are you just going for the route strategy?
Did I miss a trigger?
Yeah, your little helpful NPC died. The Pegasus Knight killed him. You gotta go way back.
Oh crap. Oh yeah, okay. That I've actually not had that happen in a very long time. Okay, this should be fine.
Yeah, so the NPC right here, he's the one that triggers the second half of the map. You can just do this as a route map, but there's a lot of enemies that would take quite a bit of time.
So okay, so I'm sorry, I like don't even turn I'm on. So now I cannot, and I think this is fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Fine.
So that divine pulse. That divine pulse is very helpful.
Yeah.
Sometimes things go awry, and it just kind of enables you to kind of back it up.
There we go.
Without having to restart the whole map.
So many units. Now.
The trap is sprung.
Even if I die.
Okay. I'm just hoping this boss can get up to me. This is where
one tile.
Yeah. I might just take one extra turn to clean up here, but anyway. This fight is very weird.
Yeah. The other thing
Nice
you have
when
to
it
be
works.
The other thing you have to be careful of is there's some pink tiles in the very, very back. And if any of the enemy units make it there, you fail the map. So that's why Dimitri's positioning in the middle there was very important. He was stopping all of those units from progressing.
Yep. The Pegasus usually goes over and attacks Byleth. I honestly can't say I've seen it go over and kill the NPC like that. But hey, it happens. Stuff happens. But yeah, we're smooth sailing now until the rest of the run, hopefully, in terms of weird RNG type thing. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but yeah, a lot of pretty fast, cool technical battles coming up here.
Yeah. So Lori has a question. How do you think the run is going? I think it's going swim.
It's going great because I haven't game overed yet. And we made it to the second half, so anybody who speedruns this game, and almost all cases, so as long as you can get your run to the second half, you can usually drag it across the finish line.
I've got that.
Yeah, it's basically all downhill from here. We have access to all of the speed tech. So Blue Lions in particular, they get access to Dance of the Goddess. So while the other houses have to deal with only having one dancer, Blue Lions gets an AoE dance. So you could actually hit multiple units and have them go again. So it's going to enable some really, really cool strategies that are unique to the Blue Lions house. Whereas a lot of these maps are shared with the Golden Deer house that you cannot do because you have different access to different stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool just to see the divergence between the, certain battles with certain houses. Like they're just completely based on the units and abilities that you have, and weapons sometimes in a lot of cases. So it's a really dynamic, fun game to run. I'm just so happy with this game and how the speedrunning of it plays out. As much as it might seem like I'm kind of like complaining things during the run, this is just kind of how it goes, and this is what you're signing up for, so you have to be able to deal with it.
Let's clean up.
All right, so this is like the volcano world. We're going to be here for all of one turn.
Onward.
Here's that
I'm
AoE
your
dance,
girl.
by the way.
Wasted.
That was too far. That was also too far. Gosh, I'm trying to do fast
So
cursor.
The cursor moves very, very quick when you're holding down Y. So precision is quite difficult. Again, that's just the mechanical things that can make your run much.
The man.
So that was a battle.
Yeah, most of the battles from here on out are going to be like that.
It's
Chapter 16, which is the next one though, is one of my guilty pleasures about this run though, and it's because we get to face off against my two favorite characters in this battle.
Mind if I come in with a quick blur?
Go for it.
You're currently watching RPGs We Love 3, the annual RPG Valkyrie fundraising marathon. All donations accepted during this marathon will go directly to the RPG Valkyries to pay for accommodations, airfare, and necessary additional expenses such as food at the event, taxes, etc. Any leftover funds will be donated directly to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, which is the selected charity for RPG Limit Break. So definitely check out those donations, and let's get as many of the Valkyries to the RPG Limit Break as possible.
RPG Valkyrie is the lost fourth house of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I see.
I forgot that was a cutscene.
Hopefully.
I understand.
It's all.
Always.
I'm getting it.
All right, so we're coming up to the bridge map. This is probably one of the cooler maps. So a lot of the late game maps are just defeat the commander. This one is defeat the commanders. And playing around with this map while routing, there's various trigger points for the different commanders. So it starts out with only 2 of them spawn. So you're like, okay, cool. You just fly to those 2. But it's going to quickly change, and more stuff is going to spawn.
Yeah, the movement on this map is to make Dimitri wanted to not ride a dragon for some reason, so we got to put him back on his dragon there. I don't know why you would possibly not want to ride a dragon
Let's clean up.
if you had the option.
I'm grateful. What's my strategy?
All right, so objective 1 is to sort of clear this
I'll
path here. So far, so good.
I'll comply.
And then we're gonna kind
I'm
of
your girl.
create a new cluster here.
Onward.
Hey, that was cool.
Guide me well.
The fast movement looks really fun when it works.
Yeah, just like specifically positioning units. You want to be able to get your stride on as many as possible, and then I'm going to do some more positioning to be able to dance as many as possible.
Yeah, this is the first time we're gonna do the double dance here, so. We already danced once, now we're gonna dance again.
Well done. Why, thank
And
you.
then here is everybody's favorite.
Edelgard has always been obsessed with you. I am a little envious, to be frank. I will just have to impress her with my skills on the battlefield.
See how that goes. Oh man, I missed. That's embarrassing. Oh gosh, and then it's Tweedledum. Okay. Let's do this instead
I'll
though.
comply.
So yeah, just switching up the order, changing those RNs, trying to get a different outcome from that first one.
I might just need to use a slightly different attack too.
Oh, that was good. Ladislava can kind of be a little bit of a pain, but by boosting up Dimitri's accuracy, it's a little bit
What's
more
my
consistent.
strategy?
Let's try... Nope, that's not gonna do it. I mean, as long as I don't miss, I should be fine. so-
Edelgard, I will just...
Yep.
Even if...
Onward.
Rip Ferdinand.
And there's actually a fourth commander on this map, but you never see him because you just never hit his spawn trigger. So instead of defeating the 4 commanders, you only have to defeat the 3, and you clean up pretty easily.
So yeah, getting a battle where I can defeat Ferdinand von Eyre and Lord, like I said, a guilty pleasure of mine. So another reason to run Blue Lions.
You shouldn't feel guilty about that.
I don't. Chapter 17 coming up is really cool too. It's actually got my favorite music. Actually, it's going to go. I don't even hear the thing once. So, but great fight.
We have...
Let's see who we get to disappoint this month.
A question.
My favorite of the classroom questions, by the way, are there's certain comes with them to ask the question, and their reactions in the background are usually pretty good. So. Oh, and this battle is the first time we're getting unique to as well, I believe, which is Smite.
Yeah, Smite is pretty cool. Gilbert gets it naturally, so he is able to use it. The other houses don't actually get Gilbert to join them automatically. So he's actually fairly important for the remainder of the run. It's a unit that's just gifted upon you as of time.
Yeah, it's very, very useful and very funny to see.
So we're back on the same map as the Battle of the Eagle and Lion, that Chapter 7 battle, but this time it's for real. We're in a real battle here. Deaths are real, so we want to make sure to save all of our characters. Just some very specific positioning that's going on here. We have to take out the 2 commanders, so we have Claude hanging out in the bottom right, and then we have Edelgard hanging out in the bottom left. So just kind of splitting up our units to go ahead and take them out. Using that double dance. This positioning is actually really cool. It's going to enable this map to be done very fast.
It's going to work like exactly, which is always kind of fun. So that was Smite, by the way. You kind of bonk your character forward, which is very funny to see. I don't know.
It's a helper push.
Yes, just a nudge in the right direction. By Claude. He's still okay. Don't worry. He's just going to retreat. Okay, and then Dimitri's gonna fly to this tile, and then dance.
Yeah, so by abusing double dance, basically moving from the top right of the map all the way to the bottom left in one turn, it's a little...
Oh, what on earth? Okay, let's figure out what the heck I can do about that.
The other guard just decided to beast it up.
I think I'm gonna actually...
Yeah, take this man. Or switch up the attacks of Claude and Violet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking to do.
I'll comply.
I honestly have not had that happen, and it's probably happened before, but it's so.
Yeah, I think she crit there. Her crit is very low, so it's pretty unlikely that it happened.
We'll find out.
Yeah, her crit's an 8.
Yeah.
So this game also runs on a 2 RN system. So the short of it is basically anything lower than 50% is actually lower than the shown value. Anything higher than 50% is higher than the shown value. If you want to read more about how the 2 Iron system works, go to Serene's Forest. It's a very good resource for Fire Emblem games. And there's a lot of math involved, but basically what you see is not always what you get.
Fire Emblem 3 Houses, there will be math. Anyway, there's just a bunch of random stuff that's not going. That's fine. It's a marathon run, and we're getting through it. So this is we're kind of encapsulating the full Fire Emblem experience here for everyone. Chapter 18, so 5 battles to go. And this upcoming battle is actually like the easiest because they forgot how flying works when they were setting up their defenses. So it'll go really quick.
I mean, Dimitri had to completely change his strategy from chapter 1 in order for this to work. So they probably didn't expect it.
No. Also, fun fact, Dimitri had been skipping school until after. So he just got back to being in the classroom, which is kind of annoying because he doesn't really get a lot of skill growth in the second half of the game. Claude, I think, by the end of the Golden Deer run, gets to bow rank S, and I don't even think we get Claude, or I don't even think we get Dimitri to rank A in axe, unfortunately.
Claude goes just bows, though.
Yes, but even then, it's like pretty remarkable.
Claude is just a better student than Dimitri. Unfortunate.
Claude knows how to wow the fans. Dimitri just wants to be a grump all the time.
Yeah, so these next couple maps are actually unique to the Blue Lions. Fortunately, they're all just defeat the commander maps, and they go by super, super quick. So nothing really that's a pain. These were all fairly easy to route. It's basically just kind of do your 3 things, and you win.
Guide me well.
I know, Claude goes to class. What a nerd.
Claude is a nerd. Whoops. I always forget Kanto is a thing. Okay.
Leave it to me.
Oh yeah, and then there's like units over there for some reason.
Onward.
We're just gonna fly over here.
Mine.
Whoopsie. Maybe should have built those walls a little bit higher.
So, and one weird thing about the Blue Lions route is the other 2 units have unique weapons that are very, very useful. So when you're running Black Eagles, you have Edelgard with Fail Not. The axe is super overpowered, and she gets a really good combat art that just enables you to do ridiculous things. Claude gets Fail Not, which is a very powerful bow that we actually wind up seeing in this as well. That enables him to shoot from 3 tiles away. It's a very long distance bow that does a ton of damage. And then Dimitri has Arid Bar, which just it's not good. Lances in this game are just very inconsistent, and they're not as good as axes. And we want to be able to do good damage. So Dimitri has to suffer not using his signature weapon.
Yes. Edelgard's is Amir. Just make one little correction there.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
The
I'm
skill
sure
will serve
somebody
me.
in chat
Starting
maybe
with-
pointed
There
it
is
out too.
always.
Yeah, we get I don't even know how to that Dimitri gets, but yeah, Brave Axe is our ultimate weapon. Do you want to talk about the Brave weapons really quick? Because they're kind of special.
Yeah, so Brave weapons are unique. They also share the property with gauntlets in the way that they 4x attack. So once your speed hits a certain point, you are able to 4x enemies, hitting them 4 times with the weapon. Brave weapons are usually a little bit weaker than other weapons to compensate for this, but hitting 4 times is just way too good. So we wind up using the Brave Axe. Axes just happens to be the weapon that the Wyvern Rider needs. So Dimitri is already skilled in axes, and we're able to use that to deal a whole bunch of damage.
Yes, exactly.
So So this map is actually also in the Black Eagles route, but it has a different layout and
Let's clean
different
up.
stuff is going on.
I'm
So we're helping Claude
That's
here.
helpful. Leave it to me.
He needs to be bailed out by the strong and powerful Dimitri.
Actually needed to make sure I did my movement very
With this,
canto over here, which is where I actually need to end up.
my orders.
Another funny smite
Onward.
there.
It's a helper push.
Yes.
You would.
One of the underappreciated skills in Fire Emblem maintenance, because it's actually fairly important in certain attacks that you use certain weapons, either to make it easier for yourself, like if you know you're going to be using a weapon quite a bit in like the next battle, for example, a lot of times you want to end the battle using that in advance so that it's already pre-equipped. Or in the case of this route in particular, you have that ranged axe, which I really don't want to run out of charges on because then I would have to inventory again. So I had to switch weapons there for those two attacks that I did just to make sure that I didn't deplete charges on the weapon that was more important in the future.
Yeah, these first couple bosses, they just kind of fold over pretty easily. They don't have a lot of HP, they don't have a lot of stats, but then the game is going to ramp up very, very quickly. The last like 3 chapters, the units actually start getting stats, which is
Yeah, I think because it might be because they didn't like have Dimitri in the classroom for a while. I think they a little bit easier to compensate. In the other two routes, that the last couple battles are very, very difficult. And the boss in this upcoming chapter we're about to do is the Death Knight, and probably the hardest outside of the final boss, but because we have the accuracy ring and Brave Axe, he's generally not a problem.
There is all.
I suppose.
I'm finding.
Yeah, ironically, the Death Knight is really only a problem for Claude, whereas Claude is really, really good, but Dimitri just handles him pretty easily. Yeah, these next 2 maps are just absolutely gigantic, but just by using the stride and dances and all the various tools at our disposal, we're able to just get to the commanders fairly quickly. Doing these maps casually, probably it takes forever because you just kind of slow roll throughout the entire.
Yeah, they're very epic battles. There's so many units that I, just kind of fly over, but they're very, very fun casually, I'm sure. Alright.
Let's clean up.
Let's help them. Leave it to me.
There you are.
Onward. I'm your girl. Oh, lovely.
We're gonna just kind of clear a path here to get down to the Death Knight. Oh wait, that's weird. Hold on, I may have done my movement wrong.
Leave it to
Yeah,
me.
you did like a out and back.
Right? But why? Hold on, it's only going to right. Oh, there we. Okay, that's weird. Wait, that's him. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Can I get on my unit, please? Thank you.
Yeah, so unfortunately, none of our units have paths, which would enable them to go through enemy units. So Dimitri has to clear a little bit of a path so he can get that answered.
That was another kind of just weird thing. I don't know. Okay. It's also just funny. It's not funny. Funny is the wrong word. It's awkward carrying around a ring that you actually can't use on certain bosses, because if you kind of do the faster thing that we were talking about earlier, which is just sort of where you move your cursor onto the enemy, depending on the pathing that you take to get to that spot, a lot of times it'll just sort of assume you want to do a ranged attack, and it'll queue up like your ranged weapon, which in that case we definitely did not want. So
Yeah, there's a lot of little quirks and little intricacies to going fast in this game. It's not. It's a little bit has some good depth to it, and you can definitely tell like when you know the mechanics and you're able to get really fast time. So yeah, just doing some leggy dancing here. Very important.
I just don't even register that I'm doing it.
Ah,
It's just so natural just to like, you know, kind of spin my controller around a bit during the load screens.
Yeah, the load times in this game are pretty long, so it's good they gave you a little mini game to play.
This is actually the last time we'll be on the calendar. The last
perfect.
we're coming up on the grand finale.
Yeah, almost done. This map is actually really, really cool. This is one of the more fun ones to route. It's absolutely gigantic, and when playing around with it, you're like, the Blue Lions have a ton of tools. They have so much movement stuff that they can do. You have your AoE dance, you have your regular dance, you have stride, you have warp, you have basically, and you have a flyer. You have everything available to you, and it's like just trying to puzzle out how to get all the way down this gigantic map was a whole lot of fun. And it's personally probably one of my favorite moments routing this game.
Yeah, it's really amazing for sure. Okay. There we go. It's also interesting because there's been little there's just been a lot of little subtle changes to the route over time that I've been the game, and every time a little route change happens, you kind of have to like go back and do a bit of a double take and be like, oh wait, what just changed? I can't quite tell. Especially when you watch someone like Claris doing it, like so incredibly fast playing this game.
So the starting positions in this map are a little bit terrifying. So you start with half your units over on the right side here. There's some enemies that if you allow them to will start taking out your units. There's also a couple of Wyvern Riders that are just to the south of that right batch of units that you do some very intentional positioning to make sure that they don't kill you. So you see them right there onto Gilbert. Gilbert's kind of the boss, so he can take some hits. And then he's going to push Dimitri. Nice little helper push.
Yep, one more. That's the last one. The movement again here, very, very... had to clear a path again. There's just a lot of... I mean, I imagine doing a lot of the route, like a series, you know, incremental puzzles. And then the other cool thing about this game is, you know, the downstream cascading effects for making one little change are just so incredibly profound. And it takes a lot of time to just game out. Even if you have like a route, like a theory for like an improvement that you could make, you have to basically test out entire runs just to make sure it doesn't mess something up, you know, like 4 chapters in the future that you weren't intending.
Oh yeah, routing this game was a big pain. You were limited to 5 saves, and your setups are different. Like depending on what you did in the early game, changed your stats in the late game. And it was.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things, by the way, is asserting dominance by attacking from on top of this giant arch. So
that'd be terrifying. Dimitri flying in on a dragon,
just kind of camping out there and like throwing an axe at you. So, all right, we're up to the final battle now.
Yeah, so each of the routes have a different final boss. And in this boss, we get to fight a Super Saiyan Edelgard. She gets gigantic, gets a bunch of different shields. So the unique enemies in this game, you'll see a bunch of little diamonds in their portraits, I guess. That'll indicate how many times you have to go through their health bar. So Edelgard here has 4 health bars of progressively increasing HP. This map is, again, gigantic. There are some very terrifying units. There's a couple of casters that cast Meteor. So Meteor is a very long distance ability. So we need to make sure that those don't kill Dimitri, because Dimitri is basically going to get yeeted into Edelgard's room and solo her.
It's a good way of putting it. We're going to change a bunch of our battalions around, basically for defense.
Is
Yeah,
that
That is one way that we try to get around that.
there's a couple of very important gambits that are going to be going off here. So these weren't seen in the rest of the run, and they're just coming up now. It's the entire reason that Annette got switched to just authority at the beginning of the game. Battalions require different levels of authority to be able to be used. So we're going to be throwing out a Retribution gambit, as well as a Impregnable Wall gambit and a Blessing gambit. So Retribution is going to enable our units to counterattack from anywhere, which is really, really cool. We're going to be using, so that counterattack is going to be able to counterattack those meteor characters. Even though they're a mile away, Retribution enables you to counterattack them from a mile away, which is very handy. Impregnable Wall is a gambit that's going to be used that makes it so your units can't die. They can only be reduced to 1 HP for that turn. That gambit has 5 uses, and you'll see that coming into play very, very quickly. And we'll also be using Sacred Shield. That will be helping the defensive capabilities of our units.
Yeet.
So we're kind of putting Manuela and Flane in a little line of fire here, but they're not useful anymore. So
it's the final battle, you know. This is all the glory. This is everything's on the line, right?
This is a good counterattack.
Bye. Thank you for your service.
That worked out well.
So the really unfortunate part about this battle is you have to have Leggy stay alive. At this point, Leggy is very underleveled and understated, so it's basically protect the Leggy on the south side.
Indeed. And Dimitri's just gonna chill up here and do Dimitri things. I just want to make sure that I don't get the wall broken here too soon. There's literally like a human shield and
yeah, so that Brave Axe is hitting 4 times for 24 damage. I believe at her highest, Edelgard has a little over 100 HP on her last HP bar. So when all of these hit, it's going to deal a ton of damage, and Dimitri's able to chew through her pretty quick.
Don't be careless.
I always find in this battle at this point I have counter-attacking.
Leave it to me.
Okay. I don't want to run out of Brave Axe. Let's just do Silver this turn. Silver has better defense, by the way. But now I have to do...
Last HP bar.
Yep. Do this Gambit again.
Apologies.
She's annoyingly not getting her health depleted, Edelgard. Oh yeah, we got this. I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna do a thing really quick.
This is very important.
I really hope this doesn't blow up in my face. No, we're good.
You did it.
I did the thing. Good job, Dimitri. You did it. Oops, and I hit my mic.
I think Blue Lions has the most characters live through their final battle.
No, we'll watch this. That's time, by the way. So yeah, that's the run. We had some fun. It was a little bit of a... Leggy was a little bit of a late bloomer, but got there eventually. So again, I just want to reiterate for everybody, this community has an amazing Discord and a lot of really helpful people. If you're curious to learn these games or learn how to run them, they are basically glitchless as well. So I know a lot of times glitches are one of the things that keeps people away from speedrunning games. This one's pretty much straight up fair, aside from abusing some of the mechanics that are already native in the game. And it's also fun because it's not the same thing every single time, which, like I said, for me, as someone who sort of grew into the scene on randomizers, is something I know I really appreciate about it.
Yeah, that was a great run. GG Moon. And yeah, if you're interested, please join the Discord. We're always happy to help you.